Hi, I'm Leslie Palma with Priests for Life, here with your pro-life news break. The word was mentioned just 9 times in a 91-minute hearing, but abortion was very much at the center of a case reviewed by the Supreme Court on Wednesday. The case, known as Medina versus Planned Parenthood South Atlantic, asks the 9 justices to decide if a patient has the right to sue a state if the state has removed their desired health care provider from its Medicaid program. In 2018, South Carolina revoked Planned Parenthood's eligibility for Medicaid funds, sparking a lawsuit from a diabetes patient who was no longer able to use Planned Parenthood as her primary health care provider. A lower court found that the patient is entitled to sue the state. Now the Supreme Court will have the last word. Although Medicaid funds don't pay for abortions, the state believes any income Planned Parenthood receives frees up other money the organization would then use to kill unborn children. A decision in South Carolina's favor would allow other pro-life states to cut off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. The opinion is expected to be released in late June, but it could come sooner. President Trump this week notified 9 Planned Parenthood affiliates that it would strip them of their Title X funding for family planning programs, while the administration probes possible violations of the grant agreements. But the Title X money is really a drop in the bucket compared to the tsunami of Medicaid funding the abortion seller receives, nearly $700 million in fiscal year 2022-2023. The pro-life movement, meanwhile, is united in its effort to have Congress defund the abortion business through the ongoing budget process. And Planned Parenthood facilities across the country were picketed by pro-lifers on Wednesday in a coordinated protest. Priests for Life National Director Frank Pavone spoke at a protest outside of Planned Parenthood in West Palm Beach, Florida, and street activism coordinator Brian Kemper took part in a demonstration in Dayton, Ohio. Both pro-life Republicans running for U.S. seats in Florida won their contests on Tuesday, increasing the party's majority in the chamber. State Senator Randy Fine was elected to Florida's 6th congressional district, replacing Mike Waltz, who is now President Trump's national security advisor. Republican Jimmy Patronis won the 1st district, replacing troubled Representative Matt Gaetz, who resigned in January. The news was not so good in Wisconsin, where a pro-abortion judge was elected to serve the state's Supreme Court. The election of Susan Crawford will maintain the 4-3 liberal pro-abortion majority. A bill that would allow wrongful death lawsuits up to $5 million against manufacturers and distributors of deadly abortion drugs is headed for a final vote in the Tennessee Senate. Senator Joey Henley, the bill's sponsor, said its intention is strictly to protect the unborn. Tennessee protects most babies from abortion, but as Henley noted, abortion drugs are still being mailed into the state. The death of any child killed by abortion drugs would be considered a wrongful death and leave those responsible for sending the drugs liable for civil charges. A House committee is expected to review the bill next week. A similar bill in West Virginia passed the Senate on Tuesday and is headed for the House. The bill would make it a felony to prescribe or distribute medication used for abortion to women in West Virginia. Virginia's Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Sears, was the keynote speaker at the state's 7th annual March for Life on Wednesday, and Governor Glenn Youngkin led the march around the state capitol in Richmond for the 4th consecutive year. "We are working every day to promote a culture of life and to support healthy moms and babies, healthy families, and healthy communities," Youngkin posted on X following the march. Bob Lalonde, Priests for Life's representative to the United Nations and a Virginia resident, attended the march. And speaking of marches for life, Priests for Life's Brian Kemper took part in the California March for Life in Sacramento on Sunday, and our national director, Frank Pavone, will speak tomorrow at the Florida March for the Preborn in Tallahassee. A federal judge on Wednesday ruled that Nevada can enforce a 1985 law that requires parental notification before a minor can have an abortion. The 40-year-old law has never been enforced after the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals found it unconstitutional while Roe v. Wade was still on the books. After that ruling was overturned, a group of pro-life district attorneys sued to restore the law. Abortion is legal in Nevada until 24 weeks. In pro-life Alabama, a federal judge on Monday ruled that the state cannot prosecute women who travel to other states for abortion, nor can they go after civil or criminal penalties for anyone who helps women obtain abortions. The ruling was a win for the Yellowhammer Fund, which gives money to low-income women in the state to abort their children. And finally, the 2026 governor's race in California could put Planned Parenthood on the horns of a dilemma. Former Vice President Kamala Harris has floated the possibility of running, and on Wednesday, abortion extremist Xavier Becerra announced he would like to replace term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom. Both would-be candidates, both Democrats, are favorites of the abortion giant, so a primary featuring Harris and Becerra could force the organization to decide which candidate to back financially. Both Becerra and Harris have served as California Attorney General, and before that, Becerra served 12 terms as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. In that role, he twice voted against a ban on dismemberment abortion. He voted against the partial birth abortion ban and a Born Alive bill that would mandate life-saving care for a newborn who survives an abortion. He also voted against the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act 3 times. In an interview this week with the New York Times, Becerra said he will run no matter who else is in the race. This could be fun. That's some of what's making news this week. Thank you for tuning in, and please remember always that life is the only choice.
The holy season of Lent calls us to repentance and holiness as we prepare to celebrate the Paschal mystery. Christ's death and resurrection makes us the people of life. The Tree of Life provides prayers and reflections that show the connections between Lent and our commitment to defend the unborn. Please scan the QR code to order yours now.
Hello, this is Father David Begany, one of the many members of Priests for Life. Prayer is the foundation of the pro-life movement. I invite you to join Priests for Life in prayer each day for an end to abortion. We have many different prayer campaigns throughout the year, and you can find them all at prayercampaign.org. Please sign up with us to be a regular prayer partner. God bless you.
Hello, I'm Sam Brownback, and I've worked alongside Father Frank Pavone for many years on the cause of life. He's a true champion, and the Priests for Life have been wonderful champions of this great cause, of the cause of human dignity of every human at every phase of life, from the very first moment of conception until its natural death. The human species, the human person, each and every one are full of dignity, priceless in value, and Priests for Life stand for that. Join their work with them, work alongside them in this battle, this incredible battle, this fantastically important battle for life in the United States. We've got to win this fight. Join them.